County Mayo, all right?
We're good.
Good. Hey, everybody, it's John and Rachel, and we are in Newcastle for our very last stop on the People's Natural Gas Fireplace Tour.
And we're so happy, well, not to be done. We're just happy because this means if we're done with the Fireplace Tour, spring's coming. It's sort of like our own little Phil.
Right.
Like Punxsutawney Phil, but Newcastle.
And if you knew us when we were at the Beierhoff Museum in Fox Chapel, this is exactly what we just walked into, something like that.
It's
here
amazing.
in
Yeah, we're
Newcastle.
excited.
We're going to talk about
it's
it.
called the Hoyt Art Center,
Right.
right? Yeah, so we're going to talk a little bit about that with Tom. But in addition, we're going to start nothing better than some Irish music on Facebook Live because let's face it, we're as close to St. Patrick's Day as we're going to get.
Right.
We could be doing this in February and we would think it was the right thing to do. But
Right.
basically, we're excited because our friend Mary Mack lent us the talents of County Mayo. And Facebook Live, you know how this works. You get to see all the behind the scenes of the podcast. It'll come out on Monday on KDK and then on our site on Tuesday.
Ready?
Let's
Do it.
Said my old one, you're old when you come to the wax and startle. Said your old one to my old one, haven't caught a farthing. I've just been down to Montauk, see him kill the cardinal, but he wouldn't give me a couple of bucks to go to the waxy gargle. And what will you have? Will you have a pint? I'll have a pint with you, sir. And if one of us doesn't hold us, we'll be throwing out the mercy.
Yeah. Here we go. Yeah.
Says my old one to your old one, we come to the Galway races. Says your old one to my old one, to the price me old last races. I've just been down to Cable Street, see me money lender, but he wouldn't give me a couple of bob for the old lad red suspenders. And what will you have? Will you have a pint? I'll have a pint with you, sir. And if one of us doesn't order soon, we'll be throwing out the boozer. Says my old one, dear, when we have no beef or mutton, but if we go down to Montreal, I get a drink for nothing. Here's a bit of advice, me lad, I got from an old fishmonger. When the food is scarce and you see the harvest, you know you died of hunger. And what will you have? Will you have a pint? I'll have a pint with you, sir. And if one of us doesn't order soon, we'll be throwing out the booze. And what will you have? Will you have a pint? Have a pint with you, sir. And if one of us doesn't order soon, we'll be throwing out the booze.
Oh my gosh. I need soda bread and Irish drinks like right away. I cannot wait to talk to these guys.
We
Thank
usually
you
bring
so
our own
much.
Irish
Yeah, why didn't you
drinks.
bring
Yeah,
it? I mean,
I
it was
know.
your fault.
I
And now
probably
we
have
start
a few Guinness
the
rolling around in my trunk. You know?
Go to your car real quick. And now we start the YaJagoff podcast from the Hoyt Center in Newcastle. Oh my gosh. Facebook world, let us get adjusted. We thank you. Oh, you
right.
guys, that was
You guys
fantastic.
get thank
Thank you.
Your Richie sausage.
Yeah, enjoy.
All right.
Are you going on the end?
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Means 1,000 thanks.
I love it. That was excellent.
All right.
Leave it to Mary Mack, right?
What?
Leave it to Mary Mack. All right. Yeah, so as you know, as we said, this is all the behind the scenes of Facebook world, but I love the fact is that people like to see what it's like behind the scenes at places like this because our faces when we walk in are like, oh my gosh, yet another hidden gem. We don't know much about Newcastle to begin with, so we're super excited to talk to our guests today. So we're going to get started on our very last Fireplace visit here in Newcastle with Tom Sable as our host. And how about that band? Was that good timing?
I love it. I don't
my
even
God.
like Mayo, but I like County Mayo. That's
Yeah,
for sure, right?
I knew you were gonna say
Right.
that. But apparently that's their county in Ireland, so that's pretty cool.
Right.
Ready for the ad?
Do it.
All right. Have you checked out our blog on Rohrich.com? We don't want to flood your inboxes with deals and spiels, rather fun and community events and incentives. That is what the blog is. Take a minute to visit the store to learn more about the vehicle that best suits you, and as always, visit Rohrich.com for all of your vehicle needs. And now, once again, we start the YaJagoff podcast from
The Hoyt Center in Newcastle.
Here we are.
Yeah. This is the Tom. You can actually pull the chair closer if you'd like. We listen. Hey, first of all, before we even get started, if you're watching on Facebook Live, Tom got new tennis shoes just for the podcast.
New kicks.
Like it was a Kennywood day.
Don't show mine, because my mother hates these shoes. She hates when I wear them, and she hates whenever I didn't throw them away.
So this is the YaJagoff podcast. If you're listening for the very first time, we ask that you subscribe to it on wherever you get your podcast. iTunes, if you're on there, you can leave us a nice comment. Of course, we always encourage you to listen on the Odyssey app because we are involved with the Odyssey folks, which is 100.7, 93.7 The Fan, and KDKA AM and Y108.
Y108, we will feature our first time this week, our Jag of the Week, with Kristen while Maria's on maternity leave. And as always, every day at 4:55 on your drive home with Kel on Air, we do Talk of the Town. We have a hard time saying that because we're not real yinzers. Right. You know, I'm an articulate yinzer. And then every Friday with Alyssa, we say, where do you pull up the parking chair? This week we talked about Wiggle Whiskey, so it doesn't get
who celebrated their 10th anniversary. Yeah. So this is the YaJagoff podcast, as we said, and our guests today are cool. First of all, thanks again to People's Natural Gas, because we have a guest coming in from them.
Yes.
And to talk about, as we start to get out of the cold portion of the winter here. Well,
we say that, except that St. Patrick's Day parade is supposed to have snow.
Right.
So thankfully, Rita gives us some tips on LIHEAP and how we can utilize that.
People tend to see maybe get a little behind in their gas bill. And from a community standpoint, People's Natural Gas can help them. Our guest is Tom Sable, because he's our Fireplace tour, although he kind of went free agent on the Fireplace.
Yeah,
he's like my Fireplace, and we could talk to him about contractors.
If he were anyone else, I'd be annoyed, but I love me some Tom Sable, so we were okay with it.
And we're a little behind on our, we always get Ben from Cerebral Overload on to talk about what he saw at the Consumer Electronics Show, like electric toilets and these kind of things that yinzers could use.
Who says that? When you think of something gadgety, who says electric toilet?
Right.
John.
But that's what he brought to us
choice,
one time.
Yeah,
so
I
anyways, Ben from Cerebral Overload is here.
And finally, Vinnie Borrelli. We've had him on the docket for quite some time.
Is that a made-up name? That's a real name.
It's a real name.
That is
and
like
guess
a
where he's
star's
from? Guess
name.
who he's friends with?
Muck.
Yeah. So, it doesn't get any better. Let's see if Muck listens.
It is like a star power name right there. So anyway, our first guest is Tom Sable. Tom, let's first of all, we're not making fun of you. It's awesome that you thought so.
Highly of us.
People in Pittsburgh only get new tennis shoes when it's first day of school or
Kennywood Day.
Right. And
for sure. And it's neither.
You rated us so high that you went out and got new kicks.
You think of us as Kennywood. We appreciate it.
I want to just say thanks for having me on the show. And these are actually a Christmas gift from my wife. But, spring-like weather.
Yes.
Bust them on the box.
Yes.
Waiting for it to wear them in the winter.
Okay.
That's a good point. Yeah. That's actually a good point. So here's the funny behind-the-scenes story. So we've known Tom for quite some time now, and we love that we can say that. We've worked with him. We want to talk about where some of his projects are. But Tom said, I still have a little construction going on. It's not perfect. He's a perfectionist. He was like, I don't want to bail on you guys. So we're going to go right up the road to the Hoyt Center. And John and I are like, okay. We didn't have to do any work. We did not have to come up with where in the heck are we going. And here we walk into this gorgeous place, Tom. Tell us about the Hoyt Center. Like what you know of it.
Yeah, so I currently live 2 blocks away, and I grew up maybe 3 blocks from here. And as a kid, this has been here in Newcastle my entire life, and way before that. As far as I know, the Hoyt Center, there was a wealthy industrial family.
Okay.
And on one house, I believe there was a sister, and then another house, a brother and his wife.
Okay.
And this house and the house next to it are actually the residences. And then over time, they left it and created a foundation, and it got turned over to a arts and education center.
It's beautiful.
They just do a fantastic job of in the community and putting on programs in the summertime. Our kids come, and they have a huge kids fest out here. It's just, they do a lot of great things. So I want to say thank you to Kim Collar-Jones and the whole Hoyt Center for allowing us to be here today.
So Tom, talk about, I love the fact that there was a place called the North Hill here in Newcastle. Because
we are on the North Hill.
Yeah, we didn't know that, but the history of Newcastle seems to be very diverse, because I've always known it for an Italian section, but there's a large Middle Eastern contingent up here, and we just had Irish songs on our podcast. So this is a little bit of a melting pot here in Newcastle.
Yeah, so me personally, I grew up in Newcastle. My family was Slovak and Polish. And then most of my friends grew up were Italian. My wife is Italian, Polish, and Lebanese. So on the south side of Newcastle, a long time ago, when our families came over here, there was a Polish Hill, there was a Slovak neighborhood, there was an Italian neighborhood, there was a Lebanese neighborhood, and then other Eastern Europeans and Greek, and there's some Irish folks, and probably German and a few other. But there was at one point in time during the turn of the century, Newcastle was growing at a faster rate than New York City population, just a faster rate, not population size,
right,
but just because of all the industry that was happening here at the time and the immigration waves coming
How
over.
about that?
Yeah.
Wow. And truth be told, every time we talk to you for work reasons, we end up talking about the fact that you live here. And I love the fact that you're a young person who sees such value. Talk about how you're seeing that sort of happen again, where there's this boom of younger families who are wanting to move in here. What does that look like for your community?
It's
slow.
It's
Just
slow.
like anything, right?
I'd say Pittsburgh has more of a boom itself and of what's going on with all the technology and everything. But the one thing about Newcastle I would say is a lot of people who grew up here, their families are still here, and it is a very tight knit community. And it was a great place to grow up as a kid, and I still believe it's a great place for kids to grow up.
That's the key.
A friend of mine used to kind of make fun of like the Warren, Ohio area, like and this kind of reminds me of that, why would you ever live there? And he would say, "What are you, nuts? Because I can drive 1 hour to Cleveland and 1 hour to Pittsburgh and then another less than an hour to here." He said, "I can be at pretty much any kind of city, whatever I want for dinner, any types of dinners, any types of cultural. So it's kind of like perfect here." And this place seemed, we met some folks that were tailors over in the Hermitage area.
Yep.
And their business, their suit tailoring business started here. They were Lebanese, and it seems that this place has a lot of immigrant entrepreneurship in its history. Would you agree with that?
I didn't know this was the way we were going.
Yeah, it does, and actually, even today, there still is, I would say, from generational down. There are some interesting places. We'll talk about another place. You guys come to Newcastle next time. We'll go to this winery on the east side that's making pizzas, and winery and a convertible church. And so there is things like that still happening from passed down from generations.
Yeah.
There's a great Middle Eastern place, Deed on the south side as well. So yes, John, you're right.
Oh, Tom, please. John, you're right. John, you're right. And we all know I'm proximity challenged, so you're having a conversation I can't follow. I'm just kidding.
There are a lot of people here that even could work in Youngstown and live here, right? They could live.
Youngstown's 20 minutes from here.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome.
Sometimes kids that grew up in here that don't want to. They commute to Youngstown State.
See the Youngstown Phantoms games.
That's John's jam. The Youngstown Phantoms. Yeah.
Youngstown's another city. Have you been downtown Youngstown recently?
It's been about a year or two, but
we had parking chairs ordered from there.
We did the incubator over there. The business incubator is over there. But V2, I think it is V2. And one of our favorite bands, another one from Merrimack, I'll hook up, is the Vindies.
The Vindies. They'll actually be at the Hard Rock Cafe. I was there yesterday, and they're going to be there in the next couple weeks.
So this is a good area. No, I love it.
So perfect segue though. So Tom, you live in Newcastle, but you work pretty much in the heart of Pittsburgh on a lot of different things. There's different projects. We got to work with you on a couple of things. There was a church that was converted into lofts right there on, is it Sarah Street in Southside?
Mary 19th Street.
Okay. Amazing. We are so happy to report that it's actually full, but if somebody were to move out, we'll let them know how great of a place it is. And on top of that, you are in charge of the whole 51 Bridge Street project. How's that going?
It's going well. So that's a project in that now that we purchased in end of 2020, and we've been working to redevelop it for the last year and almost a year and a half now. Yeah. So construction's underway right now. We've completely gutted it, cleaned it up. The masonry work's done. Windows are going in this week, and roofing has started as well.
And that has to be a tough feat, if you don't mind me interjecting, because what was it first for people who don't know?
It formerly was a pipe manufacturing facility like in 1902.
Crazy.
And then it was mostly used as warehouse, and a contractor used a portion of it for their office for their needs.
But it's just this giant,
massive
open,
building,
vacant. Like,
But your vision for it is incredible
my God.
because you're, I don't know if you want to talk about that on the podcast or not,
Yeah, we
but
can talk about
you're in New York and you're kind of back and forth, Newcastle, New York, all these places
Yeah.
with new.
So Etna's becoming new
and
Etna.
In the meantime, you're watching all of this technology development go on here in Pittsburgh and you're like, well, we could build a little haven for some of this technology.
Yeah, and honestly too, I got to credit my business partner Scott Walkowitz, who's in New York, lives in New York. We started off doing mostly construction projects, coming from a construction and engineering background, and he's the one that kind of really pushed it. Hey, let's what's going on in Pittsburgh from a real estate standpoint. That's our goal was always go from construction to real estate,
Right.
and we just kind of, lack of a better word, brute force got there. So he came out here in December of 2017, the day after Christmas, and him and I just toured around Pittsburgh. And we could just see that everything that's going on from the tech center, technology from Google to Apple to Facebook, and all the smaller entrepreneurial tech companies growing in Pittsburgh, that we saw this need for technology and robotics. And also, so we took that, we started working on our first project. We got involved in a second project in the Strip District of Pittsburgh with 2 other partners out of New York. And then the 51 Bridge Street kind of came out of the idea that people need space, not just office, not just industrial, but they need kind of a hybrid space for either robotics or AI or life sciences, where it's big, open, flexible space, but also is cool and, for lack of a better word, techie type filled with.
No, that's right.
And that's kind of, when we first walked in that building, you guys have been there a couple times, like it just kind of takes your breath away how big and open it
Massive,
is, and
yes.
how much light comes
Yeah.
into it. So
Yeah.
hopefully that was a long-winded answer.
it's perfect.
No.
I just love the
Yeah.
fact that you're traveling and you connected. By the way, I mean Rachel's not going to be mad that Scott didn't fly in for this because
Well,
I guess he doesn't feel we're that important.
Whatever,
That's
Scott.
okay. But
Did you get new shoes? I don't think so.
No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. We like Scott's sense of
I was
humor.
with I was with him in Philly yesterday.
Yeah.
Did you tell him
to
you're
Philly?
here?
Didn't he come to Pittsburgh? Now you made it worse.
No, he was actually, he wished he could be here, but
He's a
No,
great
I'm
guy.
just kidding. But I
Yeah.
love the fact that you guys are looking at you could develop anywhere and you come back home, and that's really cool. So kudos to you guys, where you see this is a great place to raise your family and as well as invest in it.
Yeah.
And you guys seem to you don't seem to be the kind of investors that are just building to build and sell out. You're building because there's a mission behind it,
Right.
and you want that's
And you see
something
the
that your
value.
kids
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
be your legacy or Scott's legacy, that your kids grow up and they go, wow, yeah, my dad did that, right? That's kind of cool.
yeah, no, and at the end of the day, not at the end of the day, but we are creating a business, so we have to generate value
Yeah.
and create
Yeah.
value. But something we always talk about too is for our projects and things we do, we want to leave it better than when we found it.
That's right. Yep.
So it's creating value not only for the business, but also for the community and area it is.
And you can feel it when you meet you guys. And, people love stories like this, but Pittsburgh is about people and who you meet and that, oh my gosh. Again, we've known Tom for a couple years now on a project we worked on, 3 years ago, and he was a part of it. And in that conversation, I told him that where my son was looking for school. And he's literally the reason that Roman's at Penn State. I know we talk about Penn State regularly, but I'm not kidding when I say I went home and said, I talked to this guy today. And my family's like, here we go. She has a story. But what you explained about your particular architectural engineering is why Roman's there. And it's so cool because we've kept that relationship going. And from that, you've seen different things that you enjoy. And we've just really enjoyed, kind of continuing that relationship beyond work. So we appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem. And I'm glad your son chose that
Yeah.
program. And obviously, shout out to the Penn State AE
I
program.
knew he would do it. I had to
I
get my PSU in there, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Thanks.
Well, Tom, this is awesome, and we love working with you guys. Again, if we haven't stated this enough, that you're not just this New York developer who comes in and squats and moves. It's you guys. You have the best interest of the Western Pennsylvania area in your hearts and your missions, which is pretty cool. So.
And check out the website. So it's the AM group, right?
Yes.
The AM group. And follow on social media. We'll put it in the show notes. But our intern came up with the question of the day.
And I think there's one that's super
I know
awesome.
what you're going to ask. Go ahead.
Go ahead, you do it.
No, you
Which
do
one
it.
did I guess? Huh?
Cookies.
Mm-mm.
No.
No.
We're having an internal conversation, Paige.
I like number 2.
Really?
It's so unique.
Okay. I mean, it's the season for number 1, but okay. I thought for sure you'd go with that.
Yeah.
Tom, what would you name your boat if you had one? A la Paige Rossi.
Period.
If you had a boat, what would you name it? That's a
Man,
really
you
good
know,
question.
someone asked me that question years ago. We were having this like, random conversation, and I had a good answer to it, but I can't remember. But
her other question was, what Girl Scout cookie would you like? Which was
I thought he would.
You could turn around and name your boat a Girl Scout cookie if you want. Combine the two.
See, this is why John doesn't do the question of the day. That is not allowed. There's no multiple choice.
But that's what he wants to name his boat. He could mint chocolate
The
chip.
tag along.
There you go.
That's
a good
Don't
name
answer
for a
that,
boat.
Tom. Tell us the name of your boat. What would you name your pet? So name your boat the pet.
man, it's like I want to give like such a good
I
answer,
know you're
but
a
like
perfectionist.
you know, I don't know. I would just like to have a boat. So work on getting me a boat, and then I'll name it Rachel.
All right, there you go. That was a good one, Tom. That was a good answer. If I work on getting him a boat, challenge accepted.
It's called the Rachel, and it's turkey, not pastrami.
Yes, that's a true story. Tom, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for educating us on this place. We're so happy we're
totally
here.
cool.
Thanks for coming to Newcastle. Come back.
Yeah,
and,
we've got to check out the winery
Definitely.
pizza place.
Yeah, sounds good.
Wine and pizza. Yeah, how could you go
All right,
wrong?
and you're listening to Country Mayo. I mean, if they didn't blow you away, I don't know. I mean, we're so used to Irish music at this point.
Right.
We've never heard of them. So kudos to Mary Mac for us getting some new Irish music.
Right.
They blew me away. I keep saying I mean, and I'm not usually an I meaner.
And speaking of Irish music, by the way, as we get into our next guest, Ben from Cerebral Overload, we have to tell you that tickets are still available for the Screaming Orphans, who will be performing live, taking their world tour, literally a world tour, to North Country Brewing's Cannery in Slippery Rock.
Yes.
And tickets are $20. Are they 20 or 25?
They're 20.
And
And
you
we
get
are
food
at
there?
almost 170 tickets sold. So we're getting close to capacity, not trying to like create havoc here, but seriously, get your tickets. And there's hotels around the area if you don't want to drink and drive. You know, make it a kind of, not a full weekend, but make it an overnight excursion. It would be fun.
Right, and if you're trying to figure out what technology to use, like the best camera,
That was
the
a really
best
good
phone,
segue,
how about
yeah.
that sappy segue?
Ben, I said,
sappy segue.
somebody was asking who's on. I was like, CB Rovid. And I was like, what am I saying? Like, what am I saying? I'm going with your tag.
Every time I come, it's a different name.
Yes.
The first time I was on with you guys, it was the argument whether it was Cerebral Overload
Yes.
Or cerebral.
Cerebral
Overload.
Yeah.
Yes, good point.
Yeah, and I won. So Ben, was there a tech show? Did you attend? What can you give us? And please, for the love of God, do not fall in the John trap and tell me about an electric toilet. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
Come on, man.
The way you paused, I was expecting like some other word there. She was like,
Toilet.
trying to stop
Because
yourself.
I thought he was gonna say it.
A chair that vibrates, sucks, and shocks. That's what the next thing is. All right, no. So what? Give us the old Yinzer recap of the Cerebral Overload.
Yes, there was a CES show again this year. We didn't attend in person. We did virtually again this year, just because plane tickets are so expensive and everything, unfortunately. There was a lot of home tech this year. You have your home vacuum robots. They're
I'm not listening.
Vacuum
I have
robots.
One. I have one. It was the best gift I ever got.
Yes.
Best gift I ever got. Except I still sweep, even though.
yeah.
But it's like it's a second layer.
See, ours was great too until we got one of them thick pile carpets. They don't work very well on those.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe it's the dog hair. Maybe that's mine because the sensor tends. It doesn't matter. I won't. I digress because I'll have to tell you about what happens on there. But it was kudos to my husband because it was the best gift I ever had.
So a lot of home stuff.
Yeah, home stuff. They have.
And then let me interrupt. Is that because they sort of saw the trend of people being home so much? Was it just that commonality, or?
I think it's people like me are just too lazy to get the vacuum out of the closet.
Okay.
Why go get the vacuum out of the closet when you can sit there with your feet up and automatically
I
sweep
just thought
your
maybe there
house
was
once
a
a day?
silver lining of COVID. Yeah, right.
Good point.
Yeah. Okay. What else?
They have them vacuum mopping. They vacuum and mop together, so you don't have to do anything now. You can be very lazy, which I like.
I can't. I need to work with my Hazel. Yeah.
And smart TVs.
Oh, yeah.
They're getting bigger and bigger, and you can get any Apple TV, Google TV, Roku TV.
Ben, does that? I mean, when you blog about this stuff, do you see smart TVs being the sort of the death of a broadcast news show or anything like that, or no? It's just becoming another channel of distribution for the same material.
I think it's just another channel of distribution, and one thing I like about it, it can save you money from your cable companies and everything. You don't have to rent the cable box from them
Yes.
anymore.
Yes.
Like I have Comcast. I use their apps they have on the TV a lot more than I do the actual cable box because you can do the same thing with it, and it saves you the rental fee.
Yeah, I got you. Okay.
That's a good point. So, and how smart is it? Like, what's the newest thing that you go, oh my gosh, it does this?
It's just, I like it just because it has everything all in one place.
Literally.
Is it more of just size and
Yes.
and visual quality?
I was gonna say, because remember at first, if you sat at a certain angle, it was like, oh, I don't really see that so well, kind of like projection.
You can sit anywhere you want.
Anywhere.
They're still making the curved TVs, so you can see it from every angle.
Okay.
And it pretty much, it's no matter how big your living room is now or how small it is, you can get a TV for the size that's going to fit your room.
Yeah.
Because you can buy an off-the-shelf TV now up to almost 100 inches.
Yeah.
If you need one that big.
A trivia question. Do you know how they measure 100 inches? Do you know how they measure that? Isn't it diagonal? It's not.
Yeah, it's diagonal.
It's diagonal corner.
Thank
corner.
God you got that one right.
Ooh, John, what's up with
He
the
had his own
electronics
trivia
knowledge?
show. No one was playing. All right,
That
what's
is
next?
literally, as my son will tell you, that's the maximum of my electronics knowledge.
Don't ask him about bridges and
Right,
stuff. Like,
right.
we're not good at that. All
So
right.
go ahead. What else?
What else? Other categories?
Home security-wise,
You've
seen there's hundreds of different companies that make home securities.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a company now, I don't remember the name offhand. It's your front door, it has everything built into it. It has the electronic door lock, ring style camera on it that you can use in an app, and you can see that all you don't have to go out and buy your door and then buy a camera and then buy the deadbolts. It's all in the door already when you buy it.
How about
Wow.
that? Listen, my neighbors will be fighting over that.
Right.
We joke, Mayor, if you're watching, we joke that everybody but us has something on camera on Pearl.
You should become a distributor of that product and sell it over there on.
Oh my! Literally,
on the
John.
HQ street.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. It's so true though. Everybody's. What I understood was, I think this Christmas the Ring was the number one purchase for a family because people,
I love our ring camera. We have one.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Are you obsessed with it? Like when you're bored at work, you just go look at it, see what's or you just kind of just know it's there as a safety tool.
I'm nosy to see who comes in my house.
He
Okay.
didn't say Nebby because we're in Newcastle.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, just to see whether my son, my wife, whoever's coming in.
Okay.
And
Whether the dog. What's nice is we can use it to yell at the dog, so we don't have to get off the couch and stop barking at something.
Wow, Ben, you are lazy.
I will freely admit I am lazy. If I don't have to get off the couch, I'm not.
that's what the Consumer Electronics Show is all
so
about.
true.
Is
Yeah.
how much lazier can we get? Right?
Yep.
That's the whole idea.
I was talking to my Dominic.
That when you talk about implementing these things into doors, that's what they're doing with refrigerators and freezers
Yes.
now,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Like you can just sit there and keep eating ice cream out of the freezer while you're watching TV on the other door, right?
Yep. Yeah,
my
they have
God.
screens on the doors now. Some of them, if you just double tap, you don't even have to open your door now to see what's inside. You can just double tap on the screen.
Jay, doesn't Jay have that? Isn't that what Jay Obertan says?
Is that right?
Yeah, the LG InstaView. Yeah, it'll show you what's inside of your fridge.
What does something like that cost though?
It's a few $1,000s depending
Yeah.
on which model you get.
Oh my goodness.
Man.
That's great. Do you have that?
I do not. No.
So you're not
Yeah.
a rich lazy guy.
Right.
No, I can afford the cheap stuff to
I
make me
understand.
lazy.
But none of it's practical so far because I didn't find one mention of a dryer that folds and matches
Right.
socks.
Jetson days, right?
Nope.
That
No, you can get them.
Is that right?
Yeah, they have devices out now that will fold your laundry. I mean, you have to take it out of the dryer and everything, but
it's against our business model.
Right.
We have a business model.
What else you got? One more?
the other big thing with CES was all the electric cars, especially now with the way gas prices are.
Yes.
It's perfect timing for it. And BMW has one. It's coated with e-ink. So at the touch of a button, you can change the color of your car between two colors.
Shut up.
Yeah.
We're stealing this idea, Honda. Don't you worry.
Imagine how you could screw with somebody like your spouse goes
In
to
a
the
parking
mall.
spot. Yeah, right.
Just change the color of the
You go
car.
Change the color of the car.
And the way we change cars up, we never know what car we have,
Right,
so that
wow.
would really freak us out.
Yeah, you can switch between like two different colors.
So BMW's like the first to do that?
Yeah, BMW's the first one, and they just showcased it at CES with their e-ink, with the e-ink on it.
So you could do black or gold.
Black and yellow, black and yellow. Anything male specific or female specific that you noticed?
Not that we really covered, no.
Yeah, okay. What was your favorite?
Anything that helps me be lazier.
Listen,
It's a potato chip feeder.
Yeah.
and listen,
It's
he
a
is not
machine that
being
shoots
like
potato chips.
he is such a good dude. He's
Yeah.
so supportive. He is telling me that like he's serious. Like this is the stuff, and it's amazing. It has to be amazing for you to see where we were and what we've come to, right?
Well, like when I grew up,
you,
we went
yes.
from this little TV I had to go adjust rabbit ears on.
Yes.
And turn it just right to be able to watch TV to
Yeah.
hundreds
You
of
said it
thousands of
perfect.
channels basically
Yeah.
nowadays that you
Yes.
can watch on TV
Yeah.
with the push of a button.
Yeah. I have to ask you, what are you watching? Do I want to know? Is it like sci-fi, techie?
Well, it depends on who has control of the remote.
Okay.
I'm big with like NCIS.
Yep.
Any of the DC comic shows,
Okay.
Flash and stuff like that.
Okay.
My wife's into the true crime. Crime.
Drama.
Yeah.
Drama.
True crime drama
Drama.
shows.
Yeah, those are good.
That's funny.
Oh my
Where
God.
does everybody find you? First of all, we saw you drive up in a Mazda. Would that be true?
It is.
Yeah,
It
see?
is true.
Well, gotta love that.
Yeah,
But
but they're not our sponsor.
that's okay.
saying.
We can cross promote. But what else? You guys are talking about space. We know Pittsburgh is going to space. Where can they find all the stuff that you're blogging about?
Our website is cerebraloverload.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at CBROVLD.
Yeah.
All right, I'm not giving you multiple choice, Ben, because you know I don't play that way. And I really hope you don't name your boat after it. That's really lazy if you pick a Girl Scout cookie to name your boat. So if you had a boat,
See, I don't have my feet up, so I'm not that lazy.
what would you do? Hit us with it.
Well, since you asked what I watch,
Yeah.
and NCIS was one of them, I'm going to go with Rule 91. Because that's the kid's name. His boat, so.
I've actually, my middle
Nice.
Of course,
school
if I have a boat, I hope it doesn't blow up like his does.
that was really good. And Ben, where does everybody find you? Social media and everything?
Cerebraloverload.com.
Yep.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram,
All three?
CBROVLD.
Yep. Stevie
Same for all
Rowe.
three.
Hence my intro. It's always a pleasure. We always appreciate you coming on and giving it. We feel like we're smarter and techier whenever we've been around you, so thank you.
Well, that makes me feel special.
We
Thanks.
appreciate it. Yeah. All right, so we're still listening to who's your band? County Mayo.
County Mayo.
Yeah, and we're bringing up Vinnie Borrelli. We're pretty excited about that.
This is the craziest thing is when you say
Oh my
there's
God.
somebody come on.
Did you
that-
explain this to
called
Vince?
Vince
Okay.
Borrelli? I'm like, no, that's like that when Ed Schittsburg goes to California and wants to become a movie star, he picks a name like Vince Borrelli. That's like a star power name. Vince
Are you
but
honing
it's-
in on my face?
But
so
it's
that we
his
don't-
real name.
It is his real name.
Yeah, that's so
and
crazy.
he's from
So-
Bloomfield.
Right. Who
And
would
he
have
knows.
thought? Muck. Right. And in my son's terms is, what is a muck?
Oh yeah, he
Right.
was very concerned on why I allow my children to hang around what is called a muck on a regular basis. But the funny part, Vinny, when we were speaking to you about you coming on the podcast, John said, "I swore you were on the phone with Mucks. You even sound like him." So it's a good thing. It's a good thing.
That's
Yeah.
a compliment.
Thank you.
So
Okay,
for
thank
anybody who doesn't know, Muck is a dear friend of our family. He's a longtime friend, lives in Bloomfield. He's affiliated with Team Pittsburgh Ball Hockey. He's become friends with John as well. But we actually found out he actually mentioned you to us, but we found out more about you because of Linda Joe from Higher Images, who suggested that we talk to you a while ago because you are basically a life coach and author. Is that right?
That is correct.
All right, so we're gonna have to flash the book.
Oh,
Colin,
okay.
Check it out.
Sure,
This
sure.
is the book.
Yeah.
And we need to hear about why we should read it, Vinny. So welcome.
Sure. Well, thank you. I'm honored and humbled that you guys have me here. I really am.
Don't be humble.
It wasn't even
seriously.
patronizing
Thank
when
you.
we brought Ernie Ritchie's Italian sausage for
Yes,
you.
you have to try it.
I have to.
Yeah,
Oh, geez.
You have to try
and
it.
Mancini's bread. But yeah, tell us about the book.
So the book, yeah, it started, I think it started about 30 years ago. My sister passed away, and that gave me this like burning passion, this kind of pain. The book is, a journey from pain to passion to prosperity. And it gave me this pain that I wanted to write about it, but I didn't know what to talk about. I was only 13 years old. So fast forward 30 years later during the pandemic, I thought, wow, there's no better time than now. People were
When you
complaining.
have time, right?
Yeah, I had time. And so I wanted to write it to inspire people that 30 years ago, I lost my best friend, and people today are complaining about the pandemic and they're still alive. So the inspiration of the book is, don't complain. You're here, you're alive. And I want to motivate people to not waste their lives. I was given 30 years more than she was, and I'm going to do something to make something happen with it. So that's my goal, to just inspire people to wake up and make things happen, be happy every day of your life.
So it's not about marginalizing everybody else's pain because people are dying of things and whatever. It's about taking what you have and kind of picking your boots, pull your pants up and let's go. Right?
Correct. Everybody goes through pain. Absolutely. That's precisely
Yeah.
it.
And that is such true, because you look at things that happen in your life, especially during the pandemic, and you think like, wow, and not to, like you said, not to trivialize it, but things could be so much worse.
Yes.
And look, we're finally coming through the pain of the pandemic, and I think people are looking back and going like, okay, yeah, this could be a lot, but we figured out how to kind of live through it, you know? So if we were to read this, what are we hearing stories about your childhood, or is this sort of like, like your journey, or in general, if someone was sort of going through?
Okay, well, it gives a groundwork of my childhood.
Okay.
Briefly, though, you know, what I went through and how it's applicable to today in everyone else's lives. Everyone goes through some type of pain, trials, tribulations, you know, we all do. It's just how you handle that, you know, because on the other side of that pain usually is success if you keep focused on that. You know, you could go through the pain and be miserable. I mean, my life was terrible for many years. I was going down all these wrong paths, and you know, I compare it to picking up, you know, a puzzle. You put a puzzle together and you just throw it up in the air. And that's my father's from Italy, my mother's 100% Italian as well. So I had those two challenges of them not knowing how to put those pieces together. They lost their firstborn child. And so for me, I had to put those pieces together in Pittsburgh's Little Italy, in Bloomfield, that I grew up, born and raised, and it was hard. You know, I got bullied, and people were like, "Oh, what are you gonna do without your best friend now?" You know, it wasn't like, "Wow, you lost your best friend." You know, so just putting pieces together, and you're gonna get a little bit of that groundwork, but the rest is truly these pillars I created in the book, that are the pillars of these foundations I created that will help anybody in their lives that are going through pain.
And you know, something else we somewhat joke about, but it's a serious, you know, not that it's a serious topic, but I also say about me being on the school board. You know, you go, oh, somehow we're going to get Penn State and the school board in here.
We got them both.
Yeah, but from being on the school board, I have learned that the pandemic did bring this mental awareness need, specifically for children, you know. Right. And while I always say, thank God, I don't understand mental health issues, because I've been fortunate to not experience something. So when it's not tangible, how do you help? If you have a headache, I can give you something to feel better. When you have something that's mentally challenging, you don't know, it's a case by case. How can I help you figure this out? Something like what you're discussing, it is so current day, because we're seeing that kids are realizing that, hey, you know, it may be the toddler who doesn't know anybody without a mask on, and they don't know how to maybe even hear as well because they're so used to that, to the bullying part. Like you said, we even focused on it in the last couple weeks, where finally schools are saying, okay, it's your decision whether or not you want to wear a mask. Kids were being bullied on if they continued to wear the masks. Right. I mean, that's just crazy. And it's that stigma is never going to go away. And now bullying is parlaying into mental awareness. How do you think that something like this can kind of help combat that? Or what story would you tell to kind of help someone through?
I think it's just the book brings just a light on that. You know, there's bullies everywhere. You know, kids are cruel. It's just the way it is, regardless of the parenting. My parents were strict and kind, and I wasn't necessarily that cruel, but you know, it's just the way it is. And so this just sheds light on how to adapt. There's things you can do. Yeah. But the problem is, and I shed some light on this too, is the social media avenues. You know, suicide rates are up, drug use is up.
Yes.
And so people rely on that. And I'm not the anti-social media guy. You know, my wife always says, you know, you don't like Facebook, you don't like that. I do. But not when you see bullying being brought to the forefront and then suicide following that, you know, the likes, the comments. And so this brings light on, look, you can get through anything, but you have to put your mindset there. Yeah. And one of the things I talk about is the first pillar is actually getting rid of negative and toxic people. Mm-hmm. The second is setting the tempo of your day. You know, you wake up, first thing people do, and it's somewhat of a psychological thing. You grab your phone, take a picture, take a picture of your feet. One of the guys I study says that. You take a picture of your feet, you take a picture of your omelet, and then boom, that starts your day. Whatever you see there. Instead of starting your own day with positivity and gratitude for waking up.
That's a good point, yeah.
You know, so that's what I would tell to the kids getting bullied out there. Like, you got to stay focused. I ended up taking martial arts, as not by choice, I had to. But that stopped bullying later on in life, you know, not when you first started. So every kid today is bullied, and no matter if it's weight or the way they look, just to stay focused. There's more to life. You know, there's just certain people that are going to be evil. It's always going to be that way.
That is such a good point. God.
No. So, you know, when I would think, you know, in the old days, I'd come home and my grandfather would say, like, I'd say, oh, this guy called me fat. You're like, but you're not. Just shut up and go about your business, right? It would be toughen up.
Right, that's it.
Excuse me, he would say
toughen up.
Yeah, toughen up. but we become. I don't think we become a softer. There's some places we become a softer society because we
No
don't
question.
toughen up, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But on the other hand, we have to become a more understanding society because that's the crux of the bullying, right?
That's
It's
Correct.
it's accepting versus and understanding versus making fun of what I don't know. Is that kind of it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's the fear of the unknown, to be honest, because isn't that everyone's fear? Like we all have fears, like don't put a snake in here, but the fear of the unknown is really because you don't know what to expect. And it's interesting that you say that because my daughter just had a bullying incident for one of the first times, and it was heartbreaking as a parent, to have her go through that. And as I'm being waited on last night in a restaurant from this girl who was exceptionally thin, and she joked at what my son ordered, and she said, "By looking at me, you may not know I can't gain weight." And it is just as difficult as someone who wishes they could lose weight. And so you're right, it's either side, or it's too tall or too short. There's so much that you could talk about that it's so sad.
Yeah.
But those pillars it's a great example. You lead your own faith.
Right.
What's the third
True.
pillar?
Third. Oh goodness.
Putting you on the spot. That's right, you can think about it.
Go this direction. The book is the leader to something. Do you do speaking at Rotary clubs? Do you do speaking to groups? Do you do one-on-one counseling with high school kids? Or
I do, and that's the
Yeah.
ultimate. So I haven't been that busy on that part. I want to speak at my old high school, my college.
Yeah.
There's a couple things coming up. I'm going to be at the Rivers Club, not to put plugs in, but April
Oh,
14th.
please, yeah.
Yeah, and I have titles to what I'm doing. So April 14th is the Rivers Club to inspire people there. And these are people that are still, wealthy, successful. Most people that belong to this club, correct? But some of them are still. I know billionaires and millionaires that aren't happy with their lives because of could be a root of a bullying situation.
Sure.
But watch this. If you stay focused, like your daughter on that, they need to know that those people that are bullying are the ones that have the inferiority
No
complex,
question.
the
Yep.
identity crisis.
Yep.
But anyway, so April 14th I'll be at the Rivers Club. It's going to be called Igniting Your Passions. And then again, we're doing this big Cinco de Mayo thing with Linda Joe.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, I think you guys will be there. It's at the Priory in Northside. That's I
Yes.
think around May 5th, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I want to do speaking engagements. With COVID, it's just been put off a bit.
Yeah.
But colleges, high schools, whoever really needs the attention, I can do one-on-one seminars, and it's all on my website. It's VinnieBorrelli.com. It's very easy to find. But
I think it's funny to think that people we think have the most self-confidence probably need your,
Right.
No
the people that
question.
appear that they have the most
You
self-confidence.
wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't.
Yeah.
I know guys that are just millionaires. They're just unhappy, and
Yeah.
so money doesn't make you happy. So prosperity, in the subtitle, doesn't mean prosperity with financial, material things. Prosperity is being whole yourself. If you're happy with your wife, with your friends, like that's true prosperity.
Yeah.
I always say to my kids, it's not how much money you have, it's what you can associate around you to say like, I am rich.
Yeah, that won't
because-
make you happy.
That's right. Yeah, that is such a good point. And we need reminded of that,
Yes.
especially coming through the pandemic.
So I'm hoping
Well,
to
I
touch
feel
more
better.
people. Yeah, I'm hoping
Yeah.
to touch as many people as I can. I feel I've been called to do this. I just went through it, and I think other people should just wake up.
Yeah.
Wake up and
So you
appreciate
think
life.
that moment at 13 is what sort of was like something it was telling you then, like this is what you're gonna end up doing?
I didn't think so back then.
But now you
yeah,
can,
I gotta
yeah.
be look at transparent. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I look back and go, wow, because back then, God, I was suicidal. Then
Sure.
16, took more shorts and still got bullied because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Then 18, I was like, wow, forced to go to college. Really,
Right.
It wasn't a choice of are you going to go or not. It's what college will you go to. So, and my father still. English is actually my second language. My father's Calabrese, still speaks broken English, and
What's your mom?
She's 100% Calabrese as well. Yeah,
okay.
but she was born
My
here.
family's a Brutese, so I
Oh,
always like
jeez.
to know.
Well,
yeah.
we'll let that side.
My husband's Sicilian.
Oh God! I take that back. Then I take that back. The brute says I can mess with, not the
Yeah,
Sicilian.
right.
But in any event, yeah. So back then, it was just a challenging childhood.
Yes.
I mean, just I didn't know what I was doing. High school guidance counselors, and that's why I want to preach to the seniors.
Yes.
You graduate high school. I was an A student in accounting, and I never pursued accounting in college. So they need guidance, and then same with college. We didn't get that. And I went to a Catholic grade school, Catholic high school. No surprise, right? Italian and Little Italy.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be coming out with another book, growing up in Little Italy. Actually, that's
Oh,
gonna
that's
cool.
part
I love
anthology, but it'll
that.
detail. I'm gonna interview some of the locals that have some foundation there. When you could steal an apple at the fruit store and not get shot.
Yeah.
And the cops wouldn't get caught. They'd tell your mom because everybody knew each other.
Yes,
the worst,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so
But
yeah,
that's such a good point.
But that's my goal to just really help as many people as I can and touch and inspire folks.
Vinnie Borrelli with the best name on our podcast.
We love
Vincenzo,
it.
actually, but I
Best
don't.
Vincenzo Borrelli.
That's my real name, Vincenzo.
His full name is Vincenzo.
Oh,
Vincenzo,
okay.
I feel like we need to take him on
It's
all
right
of our
here.
podcasts. It is Vinnie.
Vinnie.
He's not correcting correcting you, Rachel.
okay.
He's
Oh, no,
telling
it's
you the
Vinnie.
full
I thought
name is
Rachel was
Vincenzo.
correcting me.
Jesus,
I'm not.
Vincenzo.
No, I thought you were correcting me.
No, Rachel. But wait, I wanted to. Darn it! You lost my train of thought. I wanted to say something about him that I thought was really cool, and now I don't know because Sean ruined it with his Vincenzo walk away. We have to ask him the question of the day.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Oh,
Okay.
I know what it was. For April 14th, can anybody come?
It is
for-
a free event, yes. At the Rivers
Oh,
Cup, which is
wow.
rare. They don't do a free event.
I
But I
know.
asked them specifically, I'm a member, but I said, could you do that? Because a lot of my friends won't, a lot of people can't afford it, whether it's
Right.
$20, $50, whatever it is. I think you have to pay for drinks and food, but it is a free event. Again, it's called Igniting Your Passions, and it's going to be specifically, targeted around an open dialogue. It's not going to be me preaching motivation, inspiration, but an open forum, like a talk
That's
to people.
great.
Yeah, so hopefully if you can come, it'd be great.
Yeah, we'll have to
Love
put that in the show notes.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
please. Thank
All
you,
right,
Lily.
and everybody finds you. You do have social media,
Yes.
and what is it?
You can find VinnieBorrelli.com
Okay.
is my website. Then there's #VBMotivateMe. It's on YouTube. All my videos are uploaded there. So those are the two places
I
you'll
love it.
find me.
Have you ever bench pressed with Muck?
Yes.
Did you do better? I'm gonna call him.
I did initially, but now he got stronger. He kept going. He's a maniac. Yeah.
He is a maniac,
Yeah.
though.
But he never even worked out. Yeah, we start training together.
I love that.
He's a
That's
beast now.
great.
Yeah, he's a beast
He's
now.
a good dude. All right, so question of the day. You heard it, so you had time. It was tough for Tom to come up. He had a good answer, though, I must say. So if you had a boat, and maybe you do, what would you name it?
I don't have a boat, but if I did, my nickname was Boom Boom, Vinnie Boom Boom when I was younger.
It doesn't get better than that.
So, right? It's the truth. It's in the book. So it would be Boom Boom right on the back of the boat. Hopefully it wouldn't blow up like you were saying. Tom would enjoy the same.
Vinny, thank you so much for giving us the
Thank
time.
you.
We really appreciate it, and we'll definitely bring you back on when you have another book.
Awesome.
But check
And
out
this is for
the
you
April
guys.
14th.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes,
I
we appreciate it.
All right, cool. Vinny,
We get
thank
to
you.
chat with the band.
I know.
Before we do, we have to go through this whole rundown with this tour.
We can assemble
How
the
amazing
band
was it?
at this
How
point.
amazing was this tour? Focus.
Right. I know.
The tour
I'm just
was great.
assembling.
The tour.
You talk while I
The
assemble
tour.
the band.
Wow, I just got yelled at
No,
Facebook. All right, so basically we want to say thank you, as always, to People's Natural Gas because this was their first time sponsoring. We had a great time. Actually, before we do that, we didn't introduce Rita, so we have to talk to Rita about LIHEAP and the importance of how you can lower your bills, especially during this time. And again, thank you so much to the People's Gas folks because we had a blast interviewing them, getting different tips, all that kind of stuff throughout the last couple months. We're hoping that this wrap up means that it's good weather and we can move along. But thank you to Ernie Ritchie Sausage because he always gives. Isn't he fantastic?
Right, and he always gives
Mancini's
us
too.
Mancini's bread, and we
Yeah.
thank Mary Mac Bakehouse for Mary Mac mixes.
Yeah,
we have
she'll
to
be
thank
sending Tom stuff.
and thank Rachel and John from YaJagoff and North Country Brewing because
You
there's
get
always
YaJagoff
some
beer.
YaJagoff beer involved in there.
And our girls at Yin's Lids for the hat. See this hat? Tom gets one.
Watch.
Thanks to Yin's Lids. Yeah. Make sure you get his good side.
Yeah.
And then to cousin Lisa for Sin Bin because she always sends something good along as well. So
Yeah.
that was our Fireplace wrap up.
That's exactly
All right.
it.
Are they
So, all right,
singing
so I
first
think
and then we're chatting? Or are we not chatting?
I think. Oh no, we're gonna chat with them. So we'll get them in place, then we'll chat.
Okay, cool.
And then they'll play.
All right, cool.
All right.
Come on over,
So,
guys.
who will be
Come
the
on over.
spokesperson for the group?
Well, this
Well-
young fella right here with the.
All right.
Let's make sure
Well, have
I
a
say
seat right
come
there,
over.
I'm
please.
the oldest one in the group, actually.
All right.
Are you really?
Yes.
I would not have guessed that.
Yeah.
He looks just like Bill Dell. Do you remember?
No, yeah. Here's
And before
thought it was
we get
him.
started, we have a gift for you.
Oh,
We
we
have a
got
gift for you here.
Oh, you
Yes,
guys,
so-
thank you so
That
much.
is very cool. They
You know,
just
it's a
gave
great
us a
thing to
CD
set
for
drinks
everybody
on,
listening
you
to
know,
the
and it's
podcast.
a
A lot of people use it for target practice.
No, you guys are fantastic. I can't wait to hear this.
Ben will have some kind of newfangled refrigerator or dryer to put that in.
Love it. I love it. That is awesome. We get so many gifts. We need to invite Tom. You didn't bring us anything.
Right.
Sorry, that was it. You did bring us Newcastle. You did.
I want to vote though. Who's the gentleman right just over your right shoulder? I'm voting him as the best glasses of any podcast. The best glasses. They're the best.
Yeah,
Brad.
those are great.
Get real close. Get real close.
Brad's our token Scotsman.
Okay.
Ah.
Brad Campbell.
Okay,
His
welcome.
family is actually Scottish.
Okay.
Okay. And he's still in the band.
Yeah, can you
Well,
believe it?
Somehow.
He's thrown us out everywhere else.
He's a talented
We can
musician.
pass that microphone around the
I
back
love
if
it.
you want.
So
There
do
you
you guys practice regularly, or is this just something that's sort of
Practice?
Yeah,
What's
you don't
that?
practice.
We don't
Just
even
said
know
the
that
P
word.
Pete Word.
Wow, you don't.
Well, these guys have been playing together.
For
These three
almost
for
40 years
almost
now.
40 years.
So it's sort of, we don't practice too much.
wow.
Everyone, when we practice, it's more getting together to drink.
Okay, same. That's how we practice the podcast.
We sample different types of beers and whiskeys.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, we
I
do.
love it. What's your favorite?
Let's see.
Whichever one's
I
close
like
at hand.
Kilbeggan Irish whiskey because it's got kind of a raw taste. It's not so refined.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Okay.
But
Wow.
I like the good ones.
can't.
I
Are
like
you a
those
whiskey drinker?
I am.
Really?
Fortunately, I am.
Okay. And you've been around 40 years.
I have, yeah.
Ah.
It's even scarier.
Well, this is the what is your name? I'm sorry.
Marcy.
Marcy, I would not have guessed that you were around 40 years because you look like you're too
So
young.
actually, why don't you go through, tell us everybody's name and what instrument they're playing, please.
Okay, well, it's Marcy on the flute, Bill Lewis on the guitar, Brad Campbell on the microphone there.
I got it.
And the drum he's sitting on, and then Bernie Bonney on the bass.
Hello.
Hi. Wow.
I'm the token Ukrainian Italian Irish.
Oh,
That's true, he is.
really? That's so cool. Oh, I'm Italian Irish, but
Oh.
you know, you'll take half. My husband is Italian, and he always says, "I love half of you." So there's that. What are you gonna do?
I'm Irish.
I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. I love it. So St. Patrick's Day is coming. Where will you be performing, and what should people expect you guys to be doing? Like, do you get together?
Oh yeah, anywhere that has money and beer, we'll play at.
Same. See, we have so much in common. Yeah.
So yeah, we're playing all over the place, mostly in Youngstown area in Shenango Valley.
Okay.
Up here, but we also play in Pittsburgh. We usually do the Pittsburgh Irish Festival every year.
Yeah.
We've done Cleveland Irish Festival, Erie Irish Festival,
Harmony Inn.
Harmony. Oh, we're playing at the Harmony Inn.
That's
our friend.
So,
yeah.
we'll be there 26.
26.
They have our beers, so get
Yeah.
it.
YaJagoff.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
I'll have
Yeah,
to sample
to
one.
try it.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. We love
I've
the
had it
Irish
before
Festival.
there, actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
See, we knew we liked you. We got you the glasses and everything. No, we work with Marin Patron, and that's who's actually bringing in with us to North Country Brewing the Screaming Orphans. So we're pretty
Oh
excited.
yeah, I saw that. We have a gig that night.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, I
We'll
saw
come
that.
after. We'll
You
make
will
sure
have
they
so
stay.
much fun.
We
You
love
will have
them.
so
much
And
fun.
I
Oh, we
can't
love the
believe we've
Screaming
not met
Orphans.
you at the Irish Festival because
We're
that's
there
like our
every year, like
place.
5
Yeah, we
Oh,
podcast
yeah.
there.
We usually play down on the main stage, so down over the hill.
Did you get that, John? He was like, "We're on the main stage,
Yeah.
podcasters."
Listen, we have a
We don't have
story
time.
about down over the hill and what to go see down there, but we won't talk about that right now.
Right now.
Sounds like a good Rachel tried to set me up for failure.
I'm a good wingman. Let's just say that.
But yeah, typically we all kind of Bill will switch off the different instruments. He also plays the violin, the banjo.
Okay.
And I typically actually keys is my main instrument. I typically play keys with the band, but we kind of just switch around. You know, do some songs on the harp, some songs on the keys, and so.
Marcy plays the tin whistle and the
And
baron.
the drum, yeah.
And Bernie plays the
Bernie
bass
plays everything.
and
Yeah,
mandolin.
strings, I play a
Mandolin. Oh, that's the
yes.
Italian, right? In you.
It's the
Yeah.
bluegrass. I
Oh,
came
wow.
into Irish music from bluegrass.
Okay.
And it just was an instant crossover. It was easy to do.
Okay.
So I have that when I'm not holding up the low end here on the
Gotcha.
bass.
That's awesome.
All right, so we have to go around. Everybody has to answer the question of the day. If you had a boat, what would you name it? Let's start with
Marcy.
Marcy.
You knew the question, Marcy.
I didn't want to go first.
All right. Who has an answer? Let's start.
Okay, I do.
I
And
feel like
I also have a boat, and I have a very. It's funny you asked this question. My career for 42 years is I was a photojournalist.
Okay.
Is what I did for 42 years, and the name of my boat is The Assignment. I'm out on assignment.
I like that.
It makes
That's
it
a good
easy
one.
when you can say to the wife, "I'm sorry, I want to sign."
Now, how about you, Brad? If you had a boat,
Well
what would it
done.
be called?
That was a good
If
one.
I had a boat, I think I would call it Done Digging. Because I had to fix all kinds of stuff. I have some rental property and stuff, and it seems like I'm always digging
That's a
something
good
up to
one.
fix it. So when I retire, I'll be done digging.
I don't know. Do you have an answer?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
The money pit.
All right, should we come back to you, Mars? You ready?
Marcy's ready.
Do Ted
All right,
first.
Tim.
Okay.
Ted.
Ted, I said, I'm sorry, Tim. Tim, Ted.
No, it would be Oceanic. That's the ship my grandmother came to the U.S. On in 1901.
Wow, that's
She's-
such a good answer.
She's the only one of my ancestors who didn't go through another country during the potato famine. She's the only one that came after the famine.
Wow, that's an awesome story.
Jeez, oh man. Well, why don't you
I wanna
hook
hang
up
out
with
with Ted.
Vinnie Borrelli and write a book? I mean, he'll teach you how to write a book.
got
That's
plenty of
I mean, I
ideas
would.
for books.
I would read that. Yeah, you guys need to hook up. All right, Marcy, you're on.
Okay.
Dun, dun,
So
dun.
these are all so good. I said, how about the gardener's getaway?
Oh, Gigi. Yeah.
That's my day job. Is I'm a gardener.
Ah, do you know Doug Oster?
Yes, I do.
Don't you
Yeah.
love him? He comes
Yeah.
on quarterly. We should have brought him to
Doug
this
is a
one.
good friend of mine. He and I worked together for many
Of
years.
course,
Good
Doug
fellow.
knows everybody.
Good-
Doug
good
knows
fellow.
everybody.
All right, so we'll get a little bit of a music bed going. Oh, go ahead. You were going to say something.
We would like you to stick around and help us with this last song we're going to do.
Sure.
I mean, this is an Irish drinking song. I mean, I don't know how we would ever learn a tune like that.
Yeah.
It's an Irish drinking song, and it has some audience participation
Okay.
parts.
We're in.
And Ted is going to show you how to do them. It's
All
very,
right, so
very,
give
very
us,
difficult.
give us a
Ted,
little
hit us.
generic music bed until we get our
Oh,
thank
okay.
yous, all right?
We'll get our thank yous.
All right,
I've
okay.
got the mic in my hand, so I can't clap.
So,
That's all right. I'll do it.
You know
all
what?
right, so first of all, again,
thank
thank you to the Hoyt Center here, right?
Yes.
Thank you to Tom Sable for being kind of coordinating this. He he put his fireplace up on waivers, and we ended up here. That's kind of what happened.
And thanks, obviously, to our friend Ben, who visits us after every tech show we love. We anticipate him coming. And thanks to Vinnie Borrelli for coming on as well. And thanks to these guys, because we're going to have some audience participation. Thank you to People's Natural Gas and Rita for actually coming on and giving us some great tips to live by. And thanks to the warm weather coming, because this is finally over.
And thanks to Rohrich Honda. Have you checked out our blog on Rohrich.com yet? We don't want to be filling your inboxes with deals and spiels, rather fun and community events and incentives. That is what the blog is. Take a minute to visit the store, learn more about the vehicle that suits you, visit Rohrich.com for all of your vehicle needs, and now we sing.
All right, what are we doing?
All right.
Okay, Ted, let's give him a lesson here. You're going to have to clap.
In beat.
No, you don't have to count to 4.
Sing count to 4,
And
okay?
it's no, nay, never.
1, 2, 3, 4.
No, 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 never.
No more.
Will I play the wild
We'll give you a little example.
All right,
Here we go.
no more? I've been a wild road for many years, and I spent all my money on whiskey and beer. But now I'm returning with gold in great store, and I never will play. Well, get ready no more, and it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more. 1, 2, I play the wild rover. 1, no, never, no more.
Yep.
I went into an ale house that I used to frequent, and I told the landlady, money's all spent. I asked her for credit. She answered me, nay. Said a custom like yours, I wouldn't give anything. And it's no, nay, never. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, nay, never, no more. Will I play the wild rover? No, never. No more. I'll go back to my parents and confess what I've done, and I'll ask them to pardon their prodigal son. And if they caress me as oft time before, oh, I never will play the wild rover no more. And it's no, nay, never. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, nay, never, no more. Will I play the wild rover? No, never, no more. And it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more. Will I play the wild rover? No, never, no more. And it's no, nay, never. No, nay, never, no more. Will I play the wild rover? No, never, no more.
Oh my God, I just want them to come with us too. Thank you guys so much.
More or no?
We do. Yeah, let's do one more. You guys
You
want
want
to
to do one more?
All
Yeah,
right, we're
stay
done.
on there. Stay on there.
We need alcohol.
All
Why
right.
no one bring us alcohol?
Right. We brought the roll.
What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do
Paige,
with a
get in here.
drunken sailor lying
Done
on
that
the
shit. Get in here and dance.
What do you do with a drunken sailor? What do you do with a drunken sailor lying on the pond? Hey ho, and up she rises. Hey ho, and up she rises. Hey ho, and up she rises early in the morning. David's belly with a rusty razor. Come on in, belly with a rusty razor. Come on in, David's belly with a rusty razor. Hey ho, and up she rises. Hey ho, and up she rises. Hey
rises.